Happiness and stillness are cultivated through habits. And here are two habits that have really changed my life. Number one is walking and talking out loud to myself just before bed. Now, a lot of people recommend walking because of the health benefits for it, but I'm also focusing on the aspect of walking to allow yourself to dump your mental chatter and thought just before you go to bed. So you're not overwhelmed with things you're thinking about, concepts, study, work, relationship problems, whatever it is. What I like to do is just before bed, go on a walk, put my shoes on, and then just allow myself to explore the streets with no real intention whatsoever other than to just walk. I'm not aiming for a destination. I'm not aiming for a philosophical realization. I'm just doing the act itself for the sake of doing it. Because it's easy to always want to do a hobby or a habit to get better at it, but you can't really get better at walking. That's the cool thing about it. And the mental exercise of talking out loud to myself, some people might be like, why the hell is he talking to himself? But it's an opportunity to reconvene with God, to reflect on things yourself, and to just talk about what is ever on your mind. You don't have to speak really loud like you're having a conversation with someone, but you can just speak, above your breath usually. And it just allows yourself to get out of your own head and really articulate things, because it's like a challenge. Speak as if you're speaking to one of your best friends. That's what I would say. And walk for 10 minutes, walk for 30 minutes, walk for an hour and get completely lost. Because whether it's Kierkegaard, Nietzsche, or another ambitious or successful person in the world, walking is imperative to your thinking process. Our brains are for having ideas, not for storing them, and thinking allows you the opportunity to spark those creative juices. So as Ryan Holiday would say in Stillness is the Key, get lost, be unreachable, go slowly. And as Kierkegaard would articulate to his bedridden sister, who was actually suffering from depression at the time, above all, do not lose your desire to walk. Every day I walk myself into a state of well-being and walk away from every illness. I have walked myself into my best thoughts, and I know of no thought so burdensome that one cannot walk away from it. Don't run away from your problems. Force yourself to be with them and to playfully articulate your ideas around them. And then when you've dumped that mental chatter and you feel good and you feel revitalized, come home and do this second habit. So this second habit I actually learned from this book by Cal Newport, Digital Minimalism. And the habit is write letters to yourself. As a consequence of reading this book, I started to unpack all of the technology that I was using to reassess the functions that this technology was actually offering me in my life. Now, that cleared up a lot of space for me where I was like, shit, what do I do with all this free time I would usually spend on my phone or on my laptop? And one of these habits was suggested from this book to replace the time you would usually spend on technology. Now, writing letters to myself is a way for me to explore my own philosophy, explore my own principles for living, or just explore my ideas or things that I want to capture. Because I might write a concept I have about something, whether it's about love or processes in my life or how to improve something at work or something that I'm just working on. It could be anything. Usually I've thought about it on my walk and then I return home and I'm really excited to get home and articulate it on a letter so I can really delve into the philosophy behind it or whatever it is. And there's something about having physical paper. I wouldn't suggest writing a notebook like most people suggest. I have one as well. It's important to journal and all of that stuff. But writing on physical paper, it's just something amazing about it, being able to rip that off. By the way, you don't know how many times I've written a letter, ripped it off of my page, and then ripped halfway through it. But nevertheless, I suggest getting yourself one of these blank sheets of paper from Tesco or Lidl, wherever, and then just keep writing letters and you'll store so much of your thought. A lot of this thought I'm actually using for YouTube channels, for example, and organize it. Get little things like this, little tubs. This is notes to self. I've got 2 more on purpose and relationships. The first letter I ever wrote to myself was titled, "Welcome home, there is no personal victory too small to celebrate." It was after I was feeling a little bit disgruntled in my life and I was like, I'm constantly pushing for more. I feel like I don't really have the best relationship with myself. So I was like, right, I'm going to go for a walk. And I went for a walk and I just started speaking out loud. This is probably like a year and a half ago. And I just very quickly realized that I wasn't exercising gratitude for myself and the things that I was doing in my life. I was constantly thinking, right, I've got to do this in the future, constantly thinking about more. Whereas this gave me the opportunity to reflect and be like, wow, I need to cultivate the relationship I have with myself, because it's the most important relationship I have in my life, and to really build that mental fortitude and inner stillness. And writing that, going on the walk, speaking to myself out loud, and then writing this letter allowed me to capture it so I can reflect on this in times of forgetfulness if I need to. And it's the way I feel after doing these habits. I don't do them every day with complete success, but walking and talking out loud to myself before bed, coming home and then writing a letter for 10 minutes to myself or my future children, it's allowed me to feel a lot more calm, a lot more still in my life as well, because I'm not listening to podcasts while I do this. I'm not listening to music. I'm not really talking to other people. It's just an opportunity for me to reconvene with myself and God, or whatever that means for you. So they've really helped with my productivity. I don't do it because of that. Again, I don't want to get caught up in the progression aspect of things of, oh, this will make me 10 times more productive and you need to have a solid morning and evening routine. It's not about that at all. It's about your mental health and how you feel inside, because stillness is a default that you can return to. Happiness is a consequence of your actions throughout life. And these are two things that have really helped me cultivate those two things: stillness, happiness, inner groundedness, and mental fortitude. And then it's time to go to bed after doing these. Who knows, might not wake up because we could die in our sleep, but if we do, it's a bonus. And you will feel a lot more rejuvenated the next day. Tomorrow is built out of today. Forget words like fate, destiny, all of that stuff. Tomorrow is a direct consequence of what you do today. So try it for the next 2 weeks. Walk and talk out loud to yourself, and then write a letter to yourself, and then sign up to my course where I can teach you how to do this. No, I'm just joking, I'm not selling any course, but hopefully these will aid you in your stillness.